Welcome to this brief video, where I would like to give you some background information on the notions of Wei or defensive Qi, and Ying or nutritive Qi. Wei and Ying are important concepts in the Chinese medical classics, and are referred to in many subsequent commentaries. In the Shang Han Lun, they are a key part of the explanation for Taiyang disease, which ascribes their origin to disharmony between Ying and Wei. The Huangdi Neijing Ling Shu has a full chapter on Wei Qi and acupuncture points. In it, Huangdi says, the 5 Zang organs house the essence, spirit, and the spiritual and corporeal souls. The 6 hollow organs receive water and food, and therefore they transport and transform matter. Qi flows inside the 5 Zang, and outside in the collaterals, limbs, and joints. The floating Qi that does not run along the channels is called Wei Qi. The refined Qi that runs in the channels is called Ying Qi. The interpretation of Wei and Ying evolved over time. The Ming dynasty marked the beginning of epidemic diseases in China. To deal with this, Wenbing, or warmth or febrile disease theory, was developed as an extension of the Shang Han Lun. With it came a new form of diagnosis, which used Wei and Ying as 2 of the cornerstones. In the context of Wenbing, these terms are used as Wei-fen, Qi-fen, Ying-fen, and Xue-fen, which are known as the 4 aspects, 4 stages, or 4 levels. 4-aspect theory can be viewed as a system based on the idea of depth to which a disease has entered the body. It has given rise to the order in which these words are very often referred, that is, Wei, Qi, Ying, and Xue. Wenbing is an extensive system, beyond the scope of this discussion, and in this video we will stay with the relevance of these terms for the Shang Han Lun. In so doing, we will consider the term Rong, which is the actual term used in the Shang Han Lun. We will see that Rong and Ying are assumed to have the same meaning. But over the centuries, commentators have preferred to use the pair Wei and Ying. In order to understand Wei and Ying, it will be useful to take a brief look at the concepts of Qi and Xue. Qi is a word with multiple meanings, covering many areas in Chinese culture. For this presentation, we will first consider its interpretation as the basic building block of all objects in the universe, including the human body. Qi is apparent in different forms. It can be observed within our body in yin and yang forms. In its yin, or more dense form, it is material and fluid, and the fluid most often referred to is xue, or blood. In its yang form, qi is still termed qi. Among the multiple ways in which it can be interpreted, qi can be seen as the invisible air that we need to breathe, or as the living force that propels and generates blood. Although these 2 forms are opposites in terms of yin and yang, they are inextricably linked and both are necessary for our existence. This linkage is summarized by the saying, Qi is the commander of blood. Blood is the mother of Qi. As commander of blood, Qi generates, moves, and holds blood. It is also said that when Qi moves, blood flows. When the blood arrives, Qi will arrive at the same time. When Qi stagnates, blood coagulates. Wei and Ying are identified as 2 forms of Qi. They can both be seen as a military metaphor, where the body's system of immunity is likened to an army organized to protect the state. Wei Qi can be seen as the patrolling troops. As stated at the beginning of this presentation, Wei Qi flows outside the blood vessels, moving between the skin and muscles and warming them. It is derived from food and water essence, and it is active and fast-moving. It protects the body surface and defends it from external pathogenic factors. Wei Qi is a yang force. It is particularly important in combating yang pathogens such as wind. When there is a struggle between two yang forces, this gives rise to fever. Its other function is to protect the yin, the nutritive fluid or blood, and to contain it. Wei Qi regulates the opening and closing of body pores, and through this function it controls the secretion of sweat. Whenever it is unable to do this, this will affect the discharge of sweat. If we look at earlier characters for Wei Qi, we can recognize the association with patrolling troops, as indicated by the crossroads character that implies movement. Although the central character is said to be phonetic, early oracle bone variants appear to show some activity at the crossroads. Wei Qi is translated as defensive, protective, or guard Qi. The character for Ying also gives us some useful clues. It clearly shows two fires and a palace. Ying represents the troops guarding the palace, and for this reason has been translated as camp or barracks in philological texts. However, in its TCM context, it is usually translated as nutritive, constructive, or construction Qi. As stated at the beginning of this presentation, Ying Qi is the refined Qi that runs in the channels. According to TCM theory, Yin Qi produces blood from the essence that the spleen extracts from food and water. It flows together with the blood in the blood vessels and provides nutrition to the blood and organs. To examine this further, we need to introduce the term Rong. Given the title of this video, it will probably come as a surprise that the term Ying is not found in the Shang Han Lun. The term used in the text is Rong, which is frequently paired both directly and contextually with Wei in the Huangdi Neijing. Chapter 9 of the Huangdi Neijing speaks of the spleen as the residence of Ying Qi, implying its role in the creation of blood. Chapter 43 speaks of Rong Qi in a similar manner, referring to its origin in water and grain. In general, both Chinese and Western scholars are of the opinion that Rong and Ying refer to the same phenomenon, and the preferred term in discussion is Ying. Rong could be a variant of Ying and may have been avoided because of a taboo on that character. When we look at the ancient and traditional characters, we can note the similarity in these two characters. So why are these terms so important for our studies of the Shang Han Lun? Ying is more of an internal phenomenon, identified with yin or blood, whereas Wei is a more external, active or yang phenomenon, and is more closely identified with Qi. Yin and yang need to be balanced. Qi and Shui need to be balanced. When they are in harmony, Ying Qi and Wei Qi maintain a balanced opening and closing of the body pores, helping to maintain equilibrium between yin and yang and keeping the body temperature normal. When they are not in harmony, the patient develops chills and fever, and may suffer from either profuse sweating or may not sweat at all. As these are signs of Taiyang disease, these terms play an important role in the first section of the Shang Han Lun. In conclusion, these are the 4 clauses of the Shang Han Lun, which refer to Wei and Rong, together with their translation. I will speak in more detail in my other videos as to how they relate to Taiyang disease. For reference, although the character in the text reads Rong, the narrator reads it as Ying. Clause 50.
脉浮紧者，法当身疼痛，以汗解之。假令齿中齿者，不可发汗。何以知然？以营气不足，血少故也。
Where the pulse is floating and tight, the body experiences aches and pains. It is appropriate to induce sweat for resolution. If the proximal pulse is slow, one should not induce sweat. How do we know this? It is because the nutritive qi is inadequate, and there is a lack of blood. Clause 53.
病常自汗出者，此为营气和。 营气合者，外不邪。以胃气不共营气协合故耳。以营行脉中，胃行脉外，复发其汗。营胃合则愈。宜桂枝汤。
Where the disease has constant spontaneous sweat, this means that nutritive qi is harmonious. When the nutritive qi is harmonious, the exterior can be in discord, because defensive qi is not in harmony with nutritive qi. Because nutritive qi moves within the vessels, and defensive qi moves outside the vessels, with further promotion of sweating, the nutritive and defensive will harmonize and there will be recovery. Therefore, Guizhitang is appropriate. Clause 54.
病人脏无他病，时发热自汗出而不愈者，此胃气不和也。先其时发汗则愈，宜桂枝汤。
The patient's zang organs are not diseased. Where there is occasional fever and spontaneous sweating, but without recovery, it means defensive qi is not harmonious, and promoting sweat in advance will bring recovery. Therefore, Guizhitang is appropriate. Clause 95.
太阳病，发热汗出者，此为营弱胃强，故使汗出。欲救邪风者，宜桂枝汤。
Taiyang disease, there is fever and sweating. This is because the nutritive is weak and the defensive is strong. So by causing sweat, there will be relief from evil wind, and Guizhitang is appropriate. I hope you enjoyed this video and will join me for other videos in this series.